Welcome back to the On Air with Jamie podcast. Today's show is brought to you by Founder Frequency, where we're going to ditch your inner bitch for good so that you can anchor into deep self-trust. Before I dive into the juicy goodness that is today's episode, I just want to set the scene for you. For those of you listening in, I actually record these videos and they go straight to YouTube. But tonight, I was just in the mood to literally sit down and record. I remember I used to do this all the time. I would just feel the inspiration and I would come and I'd sit and I'd record. And I honestly feel like those episodes just hit different. And so we're bringing back a little bit of that OG Jamie vibe where we just sit and we talk in flow. I've got a bit of an outline, a bit of a plan for tonight, but I'm literally here in my pajamas. If you're watching on YouTube, you're probably like, what the fuck is going on? Where's the red lipstick? Is she having an identity crisis? Don't worry. I am not. I wanted to embrace the al naturel look for some of these episodes. And it just really shows you that this is like the duality of me as a person. I'm either all in black with my red lips and my gold jewelry, or I'm all in black with my hair out, covered in retinol and face oil because we gotta look young. And I'm literally drinking this like tea that's the size of a freaking bowl. How bougie is the glass though? And I'm just here for it. I feel like this is going to be more of what these episodes are going to look like going forwards because this is just life. And I realized that I found myself in this. Here we go. We're going straight. We're going right in, deep down the rabbit hole already. And this has nothing even to do with the episode. I felt like I've been putting on a little bit of a performance when I sit down and record these episodes. And it's so fucking weird because truly, I feel super confident in front of the camera now. I'm happy to sit and speak my mind and just like riff with you. But over the last 6 months of this year, which I've spoken very openly about how it has felt like a struggle for me, over the past 6 months of this year, I actually feel like I've maybe been playing into a little bit of energy that was not in alignment with who I truly am. And it has kind of caused me to feel like or realize that I've basically been showing up in this like facade of putting on an act and like fucking performing. And let me tell you, it's exhausting. And the reason that this is actually relevant to today's episode is, as you will know from the title already, I want to talk about the art of reinvention. Everything you need to know about reinventing yourself. And last year, if you're an OG listener, you'll already know this. Last year, I set out on this little journey of changing my life and quantum leaping. And it really took off on my TikTok and it was so fun. Truthfully, the whole like taking videos of all the shit I was doing every day just got so fucking exhausting and it drained me of creative energy. And so that like fully fell off the bandwagon. But the essence behind that was really around reinventing myself. I had just moved towns. I was settling back into a whole new life. We had renovated our home and it just felt like this fresh new energy. And I was like, fuck yes, fresh new energy, fresh new me to go along with this. And I'm really going to show up and I'm really going to share it all. Now, it was all amazing and everything went really well. But you know, in hindsight, how you can see things that in the moment you don't see? Yeah, this is where we're going. In hindsight, I now look back at the videos, at the whole like changing my life and quantum leaping, becoming $1 million me, and the way that I was showing up. And I realize that while the whole notion behind it was around reinventing myself, there are a few problems. And these are problems that I know I am not alone in because I see them in women all over the internet when they start to embark on this journey of becoming a different version of themselves, of reinventing themselves and of shifting their identity. And the first problem is that it is rooted in lack and scarcity. And what I mean by this is that the sole reason behind the period of reinvention, the shifting of the identity, is because they're not happy with where they're at. Now, I get it. It sounds really counterintuitive to be like, well, why else would you be reinventing yourself, right? You wouldn't reinvent yourself from a place of being like absolutely in love with where you're at and with yourself and with your life. And to that, I say, maybe it's true, but it's so rooted in problem solving frequency, right? And problem solving frequency, as we know, keeps us stuck in problem solving frequency. The real truth behind changing your life, behind shifting your identity, behind reinventing yourself needs to be not rooted in that lack and scarcity, not rooted in problems, not rooted in resisting the now that you have. You need to be doing this from an energy of, I fucking love who I am and where I'm at, but I know to get to that next level, to fucking quantum leap my life, my business, whatever, to collapse time, I need to grow. I need to evolve and I need to transform. Can you feel the difference in that energy? Like one is like, oh, like now is not good enough. And I feel like I need to reinvent myself in order to have the things that I want. The other is like, I fucking love this, but I'm ready to grow and evolve. I love where I'm at. I'm simply choosing to desire more and therefore to be more, to evolve, to grow, to transform, to shift, right? So many people are out there teaching that you need to really root into all of the things that are wrong in your life and use them as motivation to move forward. And what I am here to like fucking spread the word on, and the hill that I will die on, is that when you play in problem solving frequency, in hating where you're at, in needing to use your pain for motivation in order to move forward, you better fucking be prepared to need to hold that pain and that discomfort and to always need to hate something about your life and where you're at in order to move forward. That is the long and the short of it. Now, the second mistake that I see, and again, this is another one that I fell into. The second mistake I see when people go on this journey of reinventing themselves and of shifting their identity is that they focus so much on the things outside of them. Now, if you go back and look at my TikTok, even I recorded a whole episode, I'm sure, on this very topic, on changing my life and quantum leaping. And I can basically guarantee you that nowhere in there I really spoke about the internal shifts that were required to embody this new identity or to essentially like reinvent myself. And again, every day on social media, when I see women talking about reinventing themselves, they're always talking about the external things. It's literally like, go and buy a new wardrobe, change your hair, do your makeup different, put effort into how you look, start your day with a fucking aesthetic morning routine, and your day with a 15-step fucking skincare routine. It's always things outside of you. And again, another core message that I want to drill home to you is that nothing you need to change or shift is fucking outside of you. Everything needs to start within you. And what happens is you embark on this journey of becoming a different version of you. And you start doing all the external things. Change the way you look, change the way you show up, change the way you act, right? It's like putting on this facade, faking it till you make it, showing up in your higher self energy, right? But deep down, you're still harboring all of these beliefs and limitation, and the inner saboteur is coming out. And she's a fucking sneaky bitch. Let me tell you, that inner saboteur, she'll just rear her ugly head anywhere. And you won't even know what's happened. And all of a sudden, that thing that you were so close to achieving is like completely gone. And you know that it was like something that you did. Like you all of a sudden just didn't have the energy to create freaking Instagram posts through that launch, or You needed to take a sabbatical away from your business for a whole freaking week because you felt really burnt out and you lost all momentum, right? It's all these little things that if you just focused on the inner work, quote unquote, the inner work, the actual beliefs first before you went and started trying to change everything about yourself and your life, I can guarantee you would be able to hold the energy more of that new version of you. And this is the other thing that I did. Everything I was doing last year was so fucking chaotic. It was all over the place. And again, I can only see this in hindsight. But it's interesting because when I noticed this in myself, I started noticing it in other people around me, in other people that I saw online. The energy is chaotic because it's not grounded. When you are reinventing yourself, when you are trying to change your life and change your business and go through this massive evolution of your human, if you will, it really needs to be in grounded, safe energy, not fucking sporadic and I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this and like it all from the outside almost looks like you're an energizer bunny on fucking crack, and it's not the vibe. And the reason it's not the vibe, it is near impossible to continue to hold that energy because it's not rooted to anything. I just like had this random analogy drop in. It's like the roots of a tree, right? If you had a tree, this huge tree, there is no way that if it had this like sporadic root system that was just so surface level, right? It's not going to hold the tree there. If you are growing this massive tree, and like I can just envision this huge, like 2-story mega tree, right? It has deep roots that are spread out. It is grounded where it is so that, no strong breeze is going to come and just rip it out of the ground. Such a random analogy. I don't even know where that came from, but I hope that it makes sense, right? When you are out there just going, and changing the surface level stuff and not going deeper, it is going to look and feel chaotic from the outside, which, by the way, does not evoke trust from your audience. People don't see that energy and be like, oh my gosh, this is someone that I can trust and that I feel safe with. And they're probably not thinking that on a conscious level, but subconsciously, unconsciously, they're like building up a little wall against you because it feels chaotic, it looks chaotic, and it doesn't feel safe to their subconscious. So they're not going to invest in you. And this is kind of what I saw towards the end of last year. Like things were going well in my business, but it became harder and harder for me to hold that energy because it really did. Like chaos. Chaos is like the only word that I really have to explain that properly to you, is how it felt, right? And again, it can be seen from the outside and it can be felt from the other side of the screen. And I'm like sitting here, like, much like this fucking episode is kind of going, but bear with me because what I really want to talk about now is like the neuroscience behind actually reinventing yourself. Because when we dive into the actual neuroscience and you understand this side of things, like I know I'm not about to give you a science lesson and nobody loves science in school except for probably me, but I do feel like when you have this base understanding of the actual science behind this shit, so that you realize it's not just a TikTok trend, right? I feel like so many people get wrapped up in these like lucky girl syndrome and it was, what was it? The that girl trend and all of that sort of shit. And if you actually understood the neuroscience behind identity and reinventing yourself, it would make so much more sense to you. Number one, why you do the things the way that you do them, but also number two, why you're never able to hold the things that you desire to hold, right? So let's talk about identity. So your identity from a neuroscience perspective is quite literally an evolving set of beliefs, of thoughts, of behaviors, and of self-perceptions. And all of these things floating around in your subconscious mind form your identity. And your identity is literally the way that you see yourself, your concept of self, right? And so this is why when you start embarking on a journey of deciding that you're going to reinvent yourself, you can't start with those things outside of you. You can't start with your wardrobe and your hair. I mean, sure, you can start there, but in order to actually change, in order to actually experience the reinvention of yourself and the shift in your identity, these are the things that you have to look at. You have to look at your concept of self. You have to look at how you see yourself, how you perceive yourself. You have to look at your thoughts and your beliefs, and therefore also your behaviors. And everyone wants to start at behaviors and think about, oh, well, what would the $1,000,000 version of me be doing in this case? And that's great. But what about the thoughts and the beliefs that go with it? And I want to talk quickly on that around the belief cycle. Now, I've posted this to my Instagram before because everyone likes to run around saying your thoughts create your reality, but there's actually a process. So, in your subconscious mind, this is how your thoughts shape your reality. You have a thought or you have a belief, and it's triggered by a certain event that happens in your life. Those thoughts and those beliefs then evoke emotions. So an emotion comes up, a feeling. Your feelings then determine your actions, right? Your feelings also determine your energy that you're going to do the action in. And it is your action or your behaviors that actually lead to the outcomes, right? And so everyone starts at the action or the behaviors start. That's where everyone wants to start when they go on this journey of changing their life, right? But where you have to go is back to the beginning of the cycle, back to the thoughts and the beliefs, so that you can control then the thoughts and the beliefs that are coming up, therefore the emotions and the energy that you're doing things in, and therefore you will naturally shift your behaviors and your actions, and of course, shift your reality. And I'll make sure that the post is also linked in the show notes so that you can go and really, I want you to really understand that it is your thoughts that determine your actions, that determine your reality. It's not just you think it and it comes into your reality, and it's not just you do it and it comes into your reality, although that obviously is important. But when we're talking about reinvention, we need to start back at the thoughts and the beliefs. Now, the other thing you need to understand about the brain is that we call it the brain is plastic. And I know that that sounds so fucking weird, but how I want you to actually imagine it is that the brain is actually malleable. The brain is actually capable of rewiring and of physically changing. Every time you learn something new, you create new neural pathways. Every time you experience something new, you create new neural pathways. And these can obviously be good or bad, depending on how you perceived the situation at the time. But the most important thing to remember here is that you get to actually shift on a brain level. This isn't surface level shit. Again, this isn't I'm changing the way that I dress and therefore I'm changing my life. This isn't I'm changing the way that I, actually show up on camera and therefore I'm changing my life. This is I'm actually changing my fucking brain. I'm creating new neural pathways that are then going to set me up to call in new opportunities that are in alignment with that. That is why visualization is so important. It literally primes the brain. It actually sets up your reticular activating system to start looking for opportunities that are in alignment with the thing that you desire to call in. And so this is really why when you're reinventing yourself, when you're shifting your identity, you have to start on the actual level of your identity in your subconscious. You can literally rewire and reprogram your mind, your beliefs, and create new neural connections that are going to lead you to success. And so, how this feels different inside is you don't have the chaos. There is not this inner turmoil. It doesn't feel like you're fucking coming up against yourself all the time because you, as a whole person, are moving forwards towards the things that you desire. And again, I know that that sounds really, really weird, But that's actually what happens when you have like this part of you that's reinventing yourself and you're showing up in your higher self energy, but you haven't done this work and you haven't shifted the beliefs and the thoughts and actually done the identity work and the ego work and, the fucking shadow work. It'll actually feel like you're at war with yourself. It will feel like you have two different parts of you. You have one part that wants to show up in one way, and you have another part that wants to like pull the fucking curtain and go and hide out the back and doesn't want to be seen. You need to do the work on the neural level. And this is actually why I fucking love the Superconscious Rapid Recode, because we don't need to dive into all of the things that are going on. We don't need to make it icky and like really hating on ourselves and dig up turmoil. We can just go super conscious, like, show me what's in the way. Show me what's in the way and let's reprogram it. But while we're there, it's like, think of it like a computer system, right? We're deleting the files that don't serve us anymore, the files of the beliefs and the thoughts, right? But then we're also plugging in new files. We're plugging in new beliefs and new thoughts and new ideas so that we're really priming our brain. And the other thing with the superconscious is, obviously, if you listen to my episode a few episodes ago, you can actually connect to it and receive messages yourself. You can connect to it because, remember, superconscious has infinite access to all timelines. If you want to know what the version of you, this version that you're reinventing yourself to, right? Let's say, hang on, let's dial it back for a second. Let's say you've decided that you have this new idea to quantum leap your business to $1 million this year. And so you want to tap into your superconscious and you want to say, what's the obvious next step? What does this look like? You can receive the information from superconscious, and it's literally going to tell you the thoughts that version of you has, the beliefs, the way that they're holding themselves, the things that they're doing. And that's what we can then plug in. I'm kind of picking up the vibe from myself that this episode has gone a little bit chaotic. And that's okay, because I really didn't want this to be another like how to reinvent yourself freaking episode, show, video, where it just went through and told you the basic things like choose who you want to be and choose what they look like and, choose the goals. Although that is the very first step, is choosing what it looks like, choosing who you want to be, choosing what that looks like. I just feel like that shit is so done, and I just cannot handle anymore like the surface level crap that we find on the internet. I want to take you deep. And so, as chaotic as these episodes are potentially going to be going forwards, I invite you to just hold the energy, hold the space, because we're not here to play on the surface anymore. We're not here to play into that surface level shit. And I desire to take you deep. That means that sometimes I'm going to say things that are going to totally fucking trigger you and may not make as much sense as they need to. But I promise you, when you anchor into it and when you like even just notice the things that come up, this is something I've noticed in myself. Like, I used to hear something, I'd be like, oh, I've already learned this, I already know this. And I'd start to switch off to it. And I realized that was my ego at play. And that's another thing that's been holding me back personally from, progressing forwards in my evolution as a human. And so instead of literally being like, oh, I've heard this before, this is nothing new, or holy fuck, this is chaotic and I'm not sure about this. Like, I invite you to just hold the energy and to just lean in and just, play with it for a little bit, play with it. But really, if we want to break this down into very simple, tangible steps so that you can go away from this episode and quite literally reinvent yourself now with the new knowledge of the mistakes that other people make and the neuroscience and neuroplasticity behind what this actually looks like, there really only are 3 steps. And what you're going to notice from basically here on in forever is that in everything that I do, there are always only 3 steps. This is manifesting, this is quantum leaping, this is changing your reality, this is changing your identity. everything comes down to 3 steps. We don't need fucking 15-step processes. We just need 3 things. The first thing is that you choose. You choose what you desire. You choose what that version of you looks like in that reality. You choose all of the nitty-gritty details. You choose the beliefs. You choose the thoughts. You choose the behaviors. You choose the energy. You choose it all. Because what you forget is that you're a fucking powerful bitch. You are a powerful creator. You are always co-creating with Superconscious in everything that you do. What you need to choose is to be the dominant creative force in your life. And let me tell you, when you start to play into that energy, things really start to shift. So the first step is to choose. The second step is to remove all of the shit that is holding you back. That literally means reprogramming the beliefs and the thoughts and the self-sabotage and all the crap that does not serve you. And when I say we need to remove this stuff, I don't mean get your journal and spend a whole day writing out all of the terrible thoughts that you have about yourself. That is actually not helpful for anyone. And that will spiral you into fucking turmoil. You don't need to dive into all of that stuff. Like, yes, it is so good to have the self-awareness. Like, the self-awareness piece is so fucking important in life, in business, as a fucking human. But to bring up shit for the sake of bringing up shit is not the vibe for me. What I like to do is obviously Superconscious Recode. It's fast. We can reprogram in 10 minutes. It's fucking amazing. We don't need to dig up stuff. Like, we'll allow our brain to show us the things that are in the way. And in doing that, sometimes, yes, we do have painful stories come up, but we're not digging for things that aren't necessarily a problem. And the way that we do that is literally by allowing our subconscious to experience the reality that we desire to be in. So literally how all of my sessions start is by this process. We choose what we want. We allow our brain to experience it. We visualize it. We feel it. We imagine as if it's happening. And in doing that, our subconscious will naturally throw up the red flags that it has to whatever is in the way. And it's fucking amazing the things that will come up, like things that on a conscious level, you had no idea were even there. All of a sudden, you've written it out on a piece of paper. And this is why I don't really love doing conscious work when it comes to reprogramming, because it's just not accurate, right? The subconscious and the superconscious are the root of all of this stuff. So why play around in the conscious mind, which is literally 5% of all of your brain's capacity? We don't need to play there, right? So we remove all of the thing that's in the way. And then finally, we fucking embody it. We embody this new version of us. We embody the energy. Yes, okay, if that means wearing different clothes, if that means putting on makeup, wearing your hair a certain way, changing your office, rearranging your home, like whatever that means for you to help you feel a certain way, as long as that's just in support, that's amazing and that's perfect. But the whole gist isn't just to change all of the things around us. Remember, it's about the internal shifts. That's what actually counts. So you really need to then embody this new energy. And on that note, I really have stopped talking about manifestation so much because I felt like there's been this conversation being had online about manifestation and quantum leaping. And it was a conversation that I really didn't want to be a part of. And so I just kind of shut off to all of it. I stopped talking about it, but I'm bringing it back because it really is the core essence of what I just love talking about. Like, I'm obsessed with quantum. I'm obsessed with fucking alien documentaries and all of these crazy things. And when I get into a rabbit hole, like, you can't even try to pull me out. But the conversation that I want to be having around manifestation and quantum leaping is that it's not this 10-step process of things that you do. I feel like I'm on the roll of like bagging out 10-step processes. And I don't mean any harm by it, but it's just like we've just overcomplicated the fuck out of everything, right? And so I feel like manifestation has become this thing of, here is the to-do list, and every day I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And it's like my order to the universe. And yep, like I'm calling BS on anyone now who thinks that I just don't think it's a story to be had that people don't actually realize anymore that you have to actually take action. I don't see that conversation anymore. People know they've got to actually do things. But what I don't see is like the actual grounded and embodiment when it comes to quantum leaping and manifestation. And that actually is the key because it's all energetic. When it comes to quantum, I want you to imagine quantum as being like just all different versions. Like it's like you go to a bowling alley, right? Again, with the crazy metaphors, you go to a bowling alley and there's like 15 different alleys, right? Different lanes that you can go and play in. And each alley, each lane, lane. I'm thinking like alley because it's bowling alley. Anyway, each lane represents a different potential reality that you could live in, right? That you could experience. And so quantum is like that bowling alley that houses all of those lanes, all of those different potential realities. And when you desire to quantum leap, you're literally rocking up to the bowling alley and you're choosing which lane you're going to play in. Okay. But the way that you then play in it, the way that you then commit to it, and the way that you then bring that lane from being this energetic plane, this energetic field, right, into actual tangible physical 3D reality is by energy and frequency. This is why I believe manifestation, quantum leaping needs to be grounded and embodied. It's not a 10-step process. It's not more shit to add to your fucking to-do list. And it's not like you do it and then it's done sort of thing. It's actually a fucking way of being. It is a way of being. It is a way of playing in life. And that's it. It's a way of being. It's a way of being. It's grounded. It's embodied. And that is that. So, a quick recap, because I feel like we fucking went everywhere. Do not make the mistakes of setting out on a journey to reinvent yourself and focus only on the things outside of you. Do not make the mistake of ignoring your actual identity, like actually shifting the identity work and reprogramming your mind and like playing with this amazing, like how cool is it that our brain can literally change and shift itself, like can literally create new neural pathways. I just think that is fucking phenomenal. And instead of playing in the energy of just shifting things outside of you, I promise when you start to shift the things that are inside of you, that is what's going to give you that grounded, tangible change, right? The 3 steps to actually shifting is simple. Number 1, choose. Choose which lane you're playing in. Choose the energy, choose the beliefs, choose the feelings, choose it all because you are in charge. Number 2, remove anything that is not that. Anything that keeps you from that. Anything that keeps you playing in that energy and in that frequency. And number 3, fucking embody it. Grounded embodiment every single day. And the thing is, in the beginning, it is a very conscious effort to play in that energy. And then gradually it just becomes like literally a way of being. And that is how you change your life and you reinvent yourself. But let's talk a minute about the self-sabotage and about the reprogramming aspect. Because at the moment, I am launching a program called Founder Frequency, which is literally all around this. It is about reprogramming that inner saboteur. Because when I say she is a sneaky bitch, I fucking mean she is a sneaky bitch. Most people think about self-sabotage as being big things like imposter syndrome and perfectionism and like procrastination and stuff. But actually, the way that you sabotage yourself more is in the tiny, nitty-gritty things that most of the time you don't even realize you are doing. And so this program is about really diving into that, really seeing those blind spots. Like it's like shining a mirror onto them, bringing in that awareness, because remember, the awareness piece is actually important. and then reprogramming that shit. Literally unplugging from the things that are not serving you, from the beliefs, from the thoughts, from the feelings, from all of the crap. Remembering that with the Superconscious Recode, don't actually think that I've spoken about this before, so watch this space to do like a whole episode on this. But Superconscious Recode, we actually can shift energy in the body as well. It means that if you have chakras that are blocked, body systems that are blocked, any sort of energy centers, energy points in the body that are blocked because of traumas or just, heavy energy, we can literally shift through that as well. So we're not just working on a mind level, it is a full body reset and reprogram. And this is so fucking important in your business because so many people just work from the mind level and they forget that traumas and, emotions and limiting beliefs also get stored in our body. That is definitely a conversation for another day. Moral of the story is Founder Frequency is open for enrollment, but we are kicking off in just a couple of weeks by the time this episode is in your ears. So the link will be in the show notes. If you have any questions, reach out to me on Instagram. If you love this episode, please take a screenshot, share it to your stories. Don't forget to tag me so that I can reshare it. And I might have like a sneaky little quantum leaping meditation that I'm going to give you if you do reshare it. And also, of course, I ask you to leave a 5-star review if you loved this episode, because it honestly helps support me. My goal in the last year has been to really get this show out to more people, and I need your help to do it. So I'm going to keep showing up, giving you the juice, spilling the tea, hopefully less chaotic. We don't actually want to spill the tea, literally, but I'm going to keep showing up, giving you the juice, giving you all of the value. Just help me share it with more people. Anyway, this is me. It's now nearly 10 o'clock at night, so your girl needs to go and get her beauty sleep, but I'll speak to you soon.